Okay.
All right, everyone. I'm here with Aaron Pauley, who is the head coach of the Sherman High School boys basketball team at Sherman High School in West Virginia. So, Aaron, if you don't mind, just tell me a little bit about where you were raised and where when you were young, and what was your family life like?
I grew up in a small community in southern West Virginia in Raleigh County. The town was called Dorothy. It was a very close-knit community. Everybody knew everybody. The majority of the men were coal miners. Majority of the women were stay-at-home moms. Mostly all the kids knew each other, hung out with one another, small schools, things like that.
And what was the community like where you grew up, as far as jobs and economic stability?
Like I said, the majority of the men were coal miners. My father was a coal miner and a pastor of our local church. My mom was the postmaster locally. And the majority of the jobs were, if you wasn't working at a mom and pop shop or something like that, then you were driving to Beckley or Charleston, which was about an hour away in each direction, to find some type of employment besides coal mines.
How did you get interested in playing sports, and what was your motivation for wanting to play?
Well, growing up in a small community, you really just didn't have much to do. Either direction, you were an hour away from a town, a city. Charleston and Beckley were an hour in each way you went. And so when you got off the bus as a teenager or during the summer, you had several options. You could be a homebody and stay in the doors. You could ride your bike. You could go fishing, or you could play sports. And I was very fortunate because the community that I grew up in had a ton of kids that were around my age. Most of them ranged about a year younger than me to 3 to 5 years older than me. And when we would get home, almost every boy in the community would either be out riding a bike or shooting a ball, passing a ball, or playing baseball. And the majority of the time it was at my house. My grandpa that lived beside of me had a field right beside of me, and we had a baseball field, a football field, and a basketball court all right there all together.
So who was your biggest inspiration for wanting to play sports when you were very young, and either inside or outside of your family? Who encouraged you the most during your early years in sports?
Honestly, whenever you're playing against them other kids, I was real self-motivated. They didn't take it easy on you. You know, you're 12, 13 years old and you're playing against a 16-year-old. I mean, they just let you have it. And at the time, you hated it because they didn't take it easy on you at all. But I think looking back, it really helped me develop because it kind of made me motivated to, if you're out there playing basketball and you're getting a ball taken from you, or you're getting pitched to and you're striking out, or you're catching a football and getting hammered, like you either cower and don't play anymore, or you try to toughen up. And that's kind of what I did. And I also had my father, which was always available. He was our little league coach. He was our t-ball coach. He helped with little pee-wee and midget football, and he was always available for things like, if I was a pitcher in baseball, loved baseball, and he would go outside and catch for me for an hour if I wanted to. He'd go out there and rebound for me in basketball if I wanted him to. He was never really a pusher. He didn't push me to do anything, but he was always available if I needed him to be.
How successful were you in your sports endeavors in high school, and do you think you were on a path to earning a college scholarship for sports?
Possibly. I never really got that opportunity. I didn't get to play my senior year, but I was getting looks as a junior. Through little leagues and football, we were always really good, and I had a really good career. And once I started in basketball full time, and I started as a ninth grader and went up to my junior year before I couldn't play senior year. And my junior year, I was very close to getting 1,000 points. We made it to the semifinals at Charleston at the state tournament. I made All-State that year. I was on the all-tournament team down at Charleston. We made it to the semifinals on Friday. Had a really good season that year. I probably averaged around 20 or so that year. And that summer, I would always go to camp. I went to WVU's individual camp from 7th grade all the way up to my junior, senior summer. In my junior, senior summer, I had a really, really good week at camp up there, and was able to win several awards there. And I remember one example that kind of made me think that I was actually had a shot at making it into college. Was Gail Catlett was the coach at WVU at the time, and we had several hundred people at camp, and it was the end of the evening where he was getting ready to get back on the buses and the vans to go back to Towers for dinner, and Gail Catlett comes out, which he never did, and he said, everybody can leave except Aaron Pauley. And immediately my heart stopped, my stomach sunk, because I thought I'm either in trouble or something's happened at home. This is an emergency because this didn't happen. So afterwards, he's like, hey, listen, there's people here watching you. Just keep it up. You will watch down state tournaments. You had a good year, et cetera, et cetera. Not saying that WVU was recruiting me, but WVU's camp was ran by WVU and some D2 and D3 coaches. So basically he was saying that, keep up the good work, you're getting recognized and things like that. And he drove me around Morgantown. Me and him, we go back to Towers, immediately get on the phone, call my father to Cloud Nine. And my father was always a realist. He didn't want to blow your head up too much. And he was like, did anybody offer you a scholarship? And I was like, no. And he immediately said, well, it sounds like you got some work to do. So it kind of brought me back down to reality, which was what I needed at the time. But, that summer was a really good summer for me.
In the summer of 1998, while you were still in high school, you were diagnosed with hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Can you kind of just tell me a little bit about hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, what it is and how it affected you both on a personal level and your future participation in sports?
It was pretty crushing. 1998, there wasn't a lot of study about it, not in the States. And I came back from West Virginia's camp on Cloud Nine, had a great camp, had a great season. Looking forward to going into my senior year and possibly winning a state championship, which we probably could have done. And started playing summer league out at Beckley, and I think we were playing Woodrow's team, and I started feeling real lightheaded, dizzy. Felt like I was going to faint, pass out, and on the way home, I just couldn't come to. And my mom started getting real worried. They took us to a local clinic. They did an EKG. It showed abnormalities. They put me into which was July 22nd, 1998 is when I found out that there was something going on. And sent me in with a cardiologist down at Charleston, and they diagnosed me with hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which is a thickened muscle in the left ventricle that I have that obstructs when I exercise, and which is very dangerous for athletes and really anybody, but can cause a cardiac arrest or a sudden death if you're not medicated and treated correctly.
Once your playing career was over, you chose to continue in sports by coaching and teaching various different sports to young people. What was your inspiration for that? And can you kind of just tell me a little bit about your coaching career after you were out of high school?
Well, I attended college. I lived in Morgantown for about 4.5 years, and honestly had zero thoughts of coaching. It didn't cross my mind. It was a really stressful couple of years right out of high school. We seen 5 doctors trying to get second and third and fourth and fifth opinions to see if maybe I could still play. There was still possibilities, even though I didn't get to play my senior year. that if I could get released, I could get picked up by a local school and go play. So we bounced around from doctor to doctor to doctor and ended up in Cleveland Clinic, and they're the ones that finally medicated me and things like that. So it's really rough. So to say that I had like ambitions as soon as I found out I couldn't play to be a coach would be a lie. I really just didn't want. I didn't want to go to school anymore. I didn't want to go to college. If it wasn't for my current wife now, I probably wouldn't have went to college. She kind of motivated me and pulled me along through my entire college days. But when I graduated college, I was home for maybe a month, and my current assistant now, which was also my junior high football coach, he was my junior high basketball coach, he was my high school assistant coach, was Dennis Dye. Dennis Dye calls me at the house and says, "Hey, I need you to take a job." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Well, there's an elementary basketball job open over here at Mars Fork, and they can't find a coach, and I'd like for you to take it." I didn't want to do it. He kept calling and bugging me, and I decided to do it. And we were real successful. I coached them for 2 years. We played 2 county championships there. And soon as that was over, he calls me up and says, "Hey," and it was my former principal at Mars Fork Clyde Stepp, and Dennis Dye brought me in about a week before the season started back in probably 06, 07. The high school team at Liberty's job came open, which I'd never even thought about taking. And they're like, "Hey, you're going to take this job." And I was like, "No, I'm not going to take it. I'm too young. I'm inexperienced. I've been away from the game too long." And they basically talked me into doing it. And that's where my coaching career started at. And it went from coaching nothing to coaching basketball, cross country, soccer. I mean, a little bit of everything.
What would you like for the players you coach to learn about life through their participation in sports, and what life lessons are you hoping to teach them?
We build every season on several things. We want the kids to be respectful. You got to give respect to get it, and I want them to carry that forward. Dedication, leadership, hard work. We don't have any kids that in our area that's probably going to be a pro basketball player or pro soccer player or pro any sport. I mean, the chances are very, very slim. So these kids, after they play their last senior game, is going to be done with any type of organized sporting. So we hope that what we teach them during the time they're at Sherman, that they can take that on to life. I mean, if they get a job right out of high school, they go to college, you still got to be able to be coachable. You still got to be teachable. You have to listen to somebody. You have to be respectful to somebody, and hopefully those things carry on to them throughout their life.
And just the success you had playing in high school and then coaching, how were you able to use your success as a way to inspire these young players to reach for their dreams and just strive to be all that they can be, both on and off the court?
The biggest thing is for me is when I found out that I couldn't play, I never knew my last game was my last game. So we constantly tell these kids all the time, and they're kids, so they can't hardly grasp the concept of it, but anything can be taken from you at any moment, whether it's a sickness, an injury, or whatever the case may be. Anything is not, it's not given to you automatically. So I just hope that they realize and don't take things for granted. And the biggest thing that we try to tell our kids is to control what you can control. Everything else, leave up to God, leave up to whatever, but control what you can control. Don't panic in certain situations. Don't get upset if this is going on or that's going on. Control what you can control.
Why do you think it's important for you to give back to the sport that gave you the success you had in your career at Mars Fork? And do you think it is important for athletes to give back in some way to the communities that supported them as they grew up?
Yeah, it's very important. Not everybody's going to be a coach. I mean, there's not that many coaching jobs out there. I mean, but everybody can give back in their own way. And I think that it is important. And, I spoke about it just a little while ago that said that I came from a small community. When you had a football game on a Friday night at Clear Fork High School, you didn't have 10% of the community come out. You had all of the community that was able to come out and show their support. Doesn't mean that they're coaching, and it doesn't mean they're doing this, but they're that. But they're there to support, and I think the best way that they can do that is being positive. Like I've been to schools and I've coached in positions to where the parents try to control things, the community try to control things. If certain kids are not playing or this is not going on, then it's just negative energy surrounding programs. So I really think the best way to give back is to be positive. Talk to these kids in a positive light. Encourage them to participate. Encourage them whether they're winning or losing. Always give positive feedback when you can. And if you're able to donate at times, donate to help these programs out, because we don't have a lot of businesses at Sherman that can give us money and things like that, and it's very expensive to run programs now. So there's many ways that they can give back to the school that they played at.
And what impact do you hope to have on the community in which you live, and how do you want your community to remember you just as an athlete, as a coach, and as a person?
I mean, I'm not saying this because I'm more worried about myself or not worried about the community, but like I said earlier, I'm very hard on myself. So I want to be content with myself first. Hopefully they appreciate the work that I put in. Hopefully they understand what it takes to do all the stuff that we have done. Me and my wife have started youth soccer in Whitesville. We have started a junior high soccer team. We started a high school boys soccer team. I've coached cross country, boys basketball, all across the board, and it takes up all of your free time, and you are not doing it for money. And I just hope they appreciate the hard work that I do put into this, because I am not a practice from 3 to 5:30 guy and then I forget it. We are constant communication with our coaches, with our players. We are watching game film. We were talking with one another about how to approach practice, how to approach games, and it is a very tedious job that doesn't pay anything. It honestly does not. So hopefully they appreciate the job we do, and hopefully they think that we're doing a pretty good job at it.
And just kind of piggybacking off some stuff you said earlier, what are some of the biggest lessons you learned about life, and how did this journey kind of help shape you into the person you are today?
Don't take anything for granted. Like I said, anything can be taken from you at any given moment. Be appreciative for what you have. Control what you can control. Enjoy the moments that you have, because you never know when it's going to be over. I've coached for 20 years, and I'm getting at the tail end of my career. I know I'm still semi-young. I'm 45 right now, but I don't want to miss very much more of my family's life, and there's a lot of things that change that require me to be elsewhere. So I know that it's coming to an end, and it's kind of bittersweet, but I just want to remember all the good times that I've had, and realize that I have, had an effect on kids' lives. Some may be negative, but I think a lot of them is positive. I still talk to kids today that I coached 20 some years ago. I had a kid call me 2 nights ago about a job that was coming open that he was wanting to discuss about with me to see my thoughts on it. And I coached him, it was like 18 years ago, and he's still looking for advice, and I just think that's great.
Hey, buddy, that should be all I need. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate you helping me out on this.
No
It really
problem.
means a lot.
No problem.